Well, come on everybody, it's 6 o'clock, Come on everybody, it's time to rock, Will it stop? Let's rock. Come on everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Well, everybody knows just what to do, Turn your set to channel 2, Will it stop? Let's rock. Come on everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Well, people gather round from near and far to see their favorite TV.
Australian rock and roller Lonnie Lee was born David Ricks on this day in 1940 at his parents' sheep station at Rowena in New South Wales. In 1957, he won a contest singing Elvis songs, which was a major industry in 1957, and had his first hit with It Ain't So in 1959. His biggest success was Starlight Star Bright in 1960. Lee spent most of his subsequent career in the US, but recently returned to Australia to found his own record company, Starlight Records.
Set, go man go. I got a gal that I love, so I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready, ready, ready to rock and roll. Well, I'm going to the corner, pick up my sweetie pie. She's my rock and roll babe, she's the apple of my eye. Shove to the right, shove to the left. We're gonna rock and roll to the yellow, yellow night. I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Rock and roll, it's Saturday night. I just got paid. Rule about money, don't try to say. My heart says go, go. Have a time, cause it's Saturday night. And baby, I feel fine. I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready to rock and roll. I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready to rock and roll. You know I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready, tell you I'm ready. Ready, ready to rock and roll.
At 30, you'll probably remember names like Crash Craddock and Dig Richards, Little Paddy Colejoy. They belong to the great days of Australian rock in the early 60s. Now, the days of bandstand, 6 o'clock rock, and when Australian recording artists were at the top of the hit parade every week of the year. Now, one of those wonderful great names you remember of those days was Lonnie Lee. Now, Lonnie Lee left to seek his fortune overseas, but he's back this morning with us and he's joined us on Good Morning Australia. Hello, Lonnie.
Hello, Carrie-Anne.
It's certainly been a long time.
It surely has, yeah. It's great to be back, but and even though it's only 2-3 days.
Now, 1959, that was when you had your first hit.
Yeah.
And that was quite a while ago, so you must forgive a lot of people saying, Lonnie Lee's
Yeah,
going
where is
back.
that? Yeah,
So what have you been doing since then?
Well, you know, once I had that hit, Starlight Star Bright, I went on to, I guess maybe for the next 4 or 5 years, and had a number of hits, which I was very lucky for. In 1962, I started going overseas, and then come 1966, I went to Europe and England for 3 years. That was my longest stint up to then overseas, and then ever since then I've been just commuting backwards and forwards. Now, of course, you can tell by my accent, it's United States that I've been for a number of years.
Because you lived in Nashville for a while, and you've done a lot of writing. Glenn Campbell, Johnny Cash. I mean, you've done some great things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been very lucky in that respect. Plus, as well, I have some companies over there. We have a record company, and publishing, and we have a record promotion company which represents other companies, and it's all within the entertainment industry, and I still sing over there. You know.
So you still do some singing. Have you had any hits yourself, or you've concentrated more on the production side and the writing side?
Yes, I haven't been lucky enough myself, although I've been trying. You know, I'd be lying not to say that. But as far as my record company, just recently, in fact, just last week, we got a Billboard pick for one of my artists, who happens to be another Australian guy called Andrew Simmons. And it's a dance record like Michael Jackson, so it's starting to go. So maybe I won't do it myself, but maybe my record company will through Andrew.
When you say you live in Nashville, most people obviously say, oh, that's very country. Have you been concentrating on country, or you gone a little bit more across the board, country rock?
Yeah, more country rock. I've never really been country, but I've just had an affinity for it. I like it. I like the honesty of it, you know, and that's what drew me to Nashville. And of course, I found that although I tried to assimilate myself into it, I was too, and don't take this incorrectly, I was too sophisticated in my approach, and I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't countryfy myself enough to really be accepted down there. And no Australian really could, because it's a little different, you know.
Yes, I mean, they're very country.
They're very country, yeah, and they don't put it on. It's purely natural. I mean, how they are, how they sing, and how they are, and what they sing about is their total life. And of course, I'd be faking it, you know. So country rock is more in my thing. And of course, the nostalgia rock, which is really me. You know.
That's big, isn't it? I mean, I was fascinated to learn that you actually had a morning television, something not quite Good Morning Australia. It was a later in the morning program, and you produced that yourself.
Yes, it was an exercise. So it's called. In fact, it was called Celebrity Exercise, and it was before all the aerobics and all this. It was 1977, I believe, and we had it on Channel 17 in Nashville, and we used to get the entertainers and sporting personalities in, and they'd talk about how they would exercise to keep fit and all that stuff. And we had some aerobics, and my company tried to syndicate it, which we did, but it really wasn't accepted nationally as what we would have liked it. It was too early. You know, of course, 3 years later, the whole aerobic thing comes in, and everyone's doing exercises now on TV. You know.
Well, here on Good Morning Australia, we couldn't let you go, Lonnie, without sort of reminding everybody out there who remembers this hit from 1959, and of course, re-educating a whole bunch of people who perhaps weren't lucky enough to be around then. So would you sing that first big hit for us?
Surely, thank you.
Great.
Yeah, a pleasure. I love the song, even though I've sung it 10 billion times. Starlight, star bright, shine down on me. Bring back my baby, back home to me. First star I see in the heavens tonight. Bring back my baby to hold me tight. Well, I know this waiting can send a man way down on his knees, but I'll keep on waiting until the day you come back to me, starlight, star bright. Won't you hear my plea? Bring back my baby back home to me.
Here's a little treat for you, okay? I'll show you what a great bloke this fella is. Fabian has agreed to join Carl Joy and Lonnie Lee, two of the other great rock and roll names from the 50s. And if you have a close look at the fella that's sitting at the piano, you're going to be meeting him in a couple of minutes. That's Richard Carpenter, who has also agreed to come in and play for them as well. So here they are, Carl Joy, Fabian, Lonnie Lee, and Richard Carpenter. Let's hear it.
Wop, bam, boom, tutti frutti, all fruity, tutti frutti, all fruity, tutti frutti, all fruity, tutti frutti, all fruity. Wop, bop, luma, wop, bam, boom. Got a gal named Daisy, almost drives me crazy. I got a gal named Daisy, almost drives me crazy. She knows how to love me, yes, to read. Boy, oh no, what you do to me, tutti frutti, all fruity.
Ah, yes, sir, she's my baby. No, sir, I don't mean maybe. Oh, yes, sir, she's my baby now. Ah, yes, sir, we've decided. No, sir, we won't hide it. Oh, yes, sir, you're invited now. By the way, hey, when we meet that preacher, I'll say,
to hold me tight. Way down on his knees, but I'll keep on waiting until the day you come back to me.
2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We gonna rock around the clock midnight. Put your glad rags on and join me high. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes 1. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock. The broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. When the clock strikes 12, we'll do our best time to rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock. The broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. All around the lane show.
Lonnie Lee, Fabian, and Richard Carpenter. Where else are you going to find those four together? Look at that. Give up. Thank you. Thanks, babe. That's great stuff. And what good sports, too, for those fellas to get together like that, do that. I think it's terrific. Especially Richard Carpenter. He hasn't even been out here yet. He's playing piano for them. It's good.
Welcome back till 10. These days, rock music on television means stylish and highly produced video clips, expensive and colourful sets, and every television gimmick under the sun. 30 years ago, when it all began, rock and roll television looked like this.
Come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Come on, everybody, it's time to rock. Well, let's stop and let's rock. Come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Well, everybody knows just what to do. Yeah, tune your set to channel 2. Let's stop and let's rock. Come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock Saturday night, fantastic stuff. I remember it well. And it might look dated now, but 6 o'clock rock had impact. And a lot of performers launched by that show are still rocking. And one of them, who's determined to keep the spirit and songs of that era alive, is my next guest, Lonnie Lee. Good morning, Lonnie.
Good morning, Joan. Thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure. Now, did that bring back some memories for you?
Oh, it certainly did. And it's strange because although it's 30 years ago, the excitement is still there. As soon as I hear it, I can imagine the excitement that happened during the recording of it. You know?
Now, your first performance, I was reading in this little book that I have here on this 6 o'clock rock, Lonnie Lee, rock, first performance, August the 22nd, 1959. That's, as I said, 30 years ago.
30 years,
this
just
August.
before my 19th birthday.
Isn't it amazing?
Wonderful. Oh, yes.
Do you feel that, I mean, how big an influence was 6 o'clock rock on you and your career?
Oh, I would say that it was the most important factor because what it did do, it gave us instant exposure right around Australia. You know, up to that time, as you know, TV there was hardly anything going at all, Sydney Tonight and a few other things. And so to get on a show that you could sing your song that was popular at the time and then be instantly seen right around Australia, maybe 30, 40 stations at that time, it was magic. And we were the first Australians to have followings. So in turn, the television show itself became very, very popular, and letters and people called in and all that stuff. So as well as the show doing great for us, we as new stars, as first Australian stars, did great for the TV, and that just turned itself round and round and round.
So what are you doing these days? Still travelling around a lot?
Yes, I'm still performing, always have been, and I guess performing takes up maybe 90% of my time. The other time is I have a record company, and that takes up more and more of my office hours, and other than that, I'm into computers. I love computers, programming and stuff like that. You know,
well,
it's a challenge.
It's terrific, isn't it? Now, you've got together with some of the stars of 6 o'clock rock to actually make an album, haven't you? Tell me about that.
Well, I came back from America after living there for so many years in 1985, and seeing the guys again, Warren Williams, Barry Stanton, and all the different guys, they brought me up to date with the, I suppose, apathy in the industry as far as the nostalgia acts were concerned, because at that stage, America was bringing back Fabian and the Diamonds and all that, and I was performing in all those shows there, came back here, and there really wasn't that happening. So they said to me, Lonnie, you're involved in records and stuff like that. How about you try and help us get the thing happening here? So I tried and got the old record companies that we used to record for, tried to get them interested in re-releasing our songs, but they said no, it's they won't sell, no one's too much interested. So I thought, well, the only way I'm going to do this is do it myself. So I started my own record company here and got them all together again. It was quite difficult to get them because they're all over the place, all over Australia.
Yeah.
You know, still performing.
Who in particular?
Well, Lucky Star.
Yes.
You know, you remember Lucky, I've been everywhere. Warren Williams.
Yes.
Barry Stanton. Noeline Batley, who lived in America.
Yes, what's she doing these days?
Well,
Noeline
she lives in Miami and still sings with Barry Gibb, just lives around the corner from Barry Gibb and still sings. And I was very lucky to get her because she only comes to Australia about every 4 years for a couple of weeks. And so while she was out here, I grabbed her and put her into the studio, and she did Noeline, Barefoot Boy again.
Yeah.
So I've got Jay Justin, Adam, the Fawns, the Flanagans, who were the backing group. They were on all the original records as well. So the whole bunch of people, Johnny Devlin, you know, they're all on the show. It was great.
I think it's terrific because I mean I grew up through that era like you
that
did.
Old, Joan,
oh, we won't talk about age, but I'm glad I did though. I am glad I grew up during that time.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the kids today. You know, for my kids and other kids around and the real young ones today, because that excitement is gone. It's not there. Countdown and all those programs are popular, but somehow they seem sterile. You know, not like what we used to go
I
through.
must admit, I enjoyed Countdown. That was great for the music now. But going back to that time, not all of the performers of 6 O'Clock Rock became stars.
No.
Just listen to this singer. See if you can recognise it.
Okay.
Well, she comes from Tallahassee. Woo! She's got a high-class chassis. Woo! Maybe looks a little classy. Woo! But to me she's real classy. Woo! She's my Tallahassee lassie. Way down in Philly.
Oh.
Far out. He didn't make it, no.
Ooh,
I wonder why.
not too many notes in tune there, Lonnie.
I know. I don't know how he got on. Somehow he did.
Oh, my goodness. Well, good memories. Thanks for joining us this morning. And your album, The Living Legends of Rock and Roll, available at all good and maybe not so good, but hopefully good
stores. Yeah,
record
everywhere.
outlets.
Yeah, some of the bigger stores and the Grace Brothers and all the little stores as well have got it. And so it's a good trip for the older people who want to buy our records, but can't afford to buy the collector prices, you know.
I think it's a terrific idea. And in
you.
fact, when 6 O'Clock was, when we were playing the intro part, the young boys around the studio were bopping, I'm here to tell you. See, that's the thing about that old music.
It is too. Yeah, it's the young ones as well. You know, a lot of our audiences, by the way, are around the 30 mark, 35 mark, and yet when you think of it, 35 years ago is when or 30 years ago is when I recorded these songs.
They were 5.
Yeah, 5 and younger. And there they are now, sitting in the audience going, yay, sing the song, and knowing the words. That's another thing.
Because their parents know them, you
That's what it is.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lonnie Lee, for joining us this morning.
Thank
nice
you.
to have you here.
Good, thank you, Jim.
And if you can catch up with Lonnie Lee anywhere, he's still working his little butt off, and he'd love to see you at one of his shows, but the record's great too. But you stay with us. We'll be back with the World President of the International Volunteers Association after this.
Come on, everybody, it's time to rock. Well, let's stop and let's rock. Come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Well,
A few memories there. That is how 6 O'Clock Rock began each Saturday night, live from the ABC studios in Sydney. Well, today is the 30th anniversary of the first program. Before we speak to someone who was a regular on 6 O'Clock Rock, let's take a look at compere Johnny O'Keefe.
well, let's stop, well, let's rock. Come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Hi, once again, and welcome to 6 O'Clock Rock. We hope you're going to have a ball with us this afternoon. A particular hello to all the people that are tuning in for the first time. We hope you like the session. Shoot the band. Shh. Yeah. We got a lot of new faces, as usual, on the program this afternoon. A little later, we'll be having Dig Richards, and we've got some terrific film shots of Louis Prima and Keely Smith.
Oh, I love it. Shoot the band. Well, joining us now, a regular from 6 O'Clock Rock, Lonnie Lee. Lonnie, good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Gee, a lot of people are going to have a great deal of difficulty believing it's 30 years since the show began.
Well, me for one. It's amazing that the time has just gone so fast, and just watching that clip just brought all the memories rushing back, because that's the first time I've seen it since those days.
It's very rare to have clips like that from the old days. They were live programs. We didn't have videotape facilities like we do today, so they are great pieces of archival material, aren't they?
Just wonderful to see. I'm not on that particular clip, but it just brings the memories back. And like he said, shoot the band. He'd come out with all these incredible sayings, and I think they were just so spontaneous that today, with the taping and everything done, you know, if one makes a mistake, you go back, oh no, quit, let's do it again. But in those days, it went out warts and all.
Yeah, just like our show at times.
Right.
Tell me, working with O'Keefe, those days, just from that, he looks very fresh-faced, very with it, very alive.
Well, that really was him. That was one of the early shows, and I would say that that's maybe the thing that, in a way, made him stand out from all the rest of us. He was older than a lot of us guys. He was 5 years older than me. But the thing was, he had a vibrancy about him. You know, he really was a self-motivated man, and if it wasn't for him, and so someone like him, rock and roll would not have gone on like it did. And that showed in his face. When the accident happened, there was a little change there, but of course it was a great traumatic accident. You know.
You were good mates, weren't you? In fact, he was best man at your wedding.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh no, we were very, very close there for a while, and the only thing that that stopped that was the fact that he started going overseas a little more. I started going overseas, and then we just, you know, went our own ways, you know, in a way. But we still corresponded right up to a couple of months before his death, and. It was a great loss to the industry as well as to a great friend.
But after 30 years, you're still working very heavily. But so many of your colleagues, like John and others, didn't survive the era. We're talking drugs, sex, rock and roll, booze, the lot. How did you come out of it so well?
Well, I was always a moderate. You know, I never really hit the booze. I never hit drugs at all, and. I guess my being a moderate, I could have been an accountant or a lawyer or something like that. Well, maybe not a lawyer, I'd be a drunk, but but an accountant for sure, you know. But if I'd have gone those ways with those excesses, well, then of course that would have happened. But the drugs and all that stuff, as far as John is concerned, were not so much he went into them like today, let's go get into drugs. It was, I guess, the pressures then. Most of us guys, and in fact 99% of us, have come out, they're all looking quite young, they're all like over 45, you know, they all look very young, they're all singing around, they're all thrilling audiences just the same.
Talk about thrilling audiences, you're putting out an album that is really going to jog a few memories.
Yeah, well, that's what we've done to coincide with this 30th anniversary, and it's called the Legends of 6 O'Clock Rock, and that's what the guys are.
Who are they?
Well, I've got Lucky Starr, Warren Williams, Barry Stanton, Nolene Batley, Roland Storm, Adam, Alan Dale, a whole bunch of them. There's 13 of them, all, Jay Justin, 13 of them.
All new songs?
No, they're old songs, but new versions of their old hits, all their old hits. See, the old hits are very hard to come by. My records are worth $30, $40, $50, up to $300 for an album. So people that want to know our music, that don't want to pay that big money, haven't been able to buy our records. So we've re-recorded the old hits, so now they can walk into the store.
Are you a real collector's item now, Lonnie, are you?
I am.
I wouldn't say that too loudly.
Well, I don't have any dust on me. You know.
Well, congratulations, because I think the album concept sounds fabulous. You've gathered people from all around the world for it. Very best of luck, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kerry.
Well, on the 30th anniversary of 6 O'Clock Rock, there you have it. It has been a little while. Most of us, of course, don't remember. We just look forward to watching these little replays. In fact, we've got one more for you, Tallahassee Lassie.
Anyhow, here's the first cat to appear, and this is the first time that he's appeared. Everybody that knows the music business is predicting a real bright future for this cat, and he's going to sing a song called Tallahassee Lassie. We want you to watch him. We'd like you to let us know if you like him, because we want to have him on the program lots and lots of times. Here he is, Jimmy Griffiths.
Well, she come from Tallahassee. Woo! She's got a high-class chassis. Woo! Maybe looks a little sassy. Woo! But to me she's real classy. Woo! She's my Tallahassee lassie. Way down in Philly.
was a night, oh what a night it was, it really was. Well, the moon was bright, oh how bright it was, it really was. Well, the night was alive with stars up above, and when she kissed me, I had to fall in love. Oh, it was a kiss, oh what a kiss, it really was such a kiss. Well, how she kissed, oh how bright it was, it really was such a kiss. Just the thought of her lips sets me on fire. I reminisce, and I'm a filled with desire. Well, but I gave my heart to her in sweet surrender. How well I remember, I'll always remember. Oh, that night, oh, what a night it was, it really was such a night. Came the dawn, and my heart the night, and my love was gone. Well, but I'll never forget that kiss in the moonlight. How well I remember, I'll always remember. Oh, that night, oh, what a night it really was such a night. Came the dawn, and my heart the night, and my love was gone. Well, but I'll never forget that kiss in the moonlight. How well I remember, I'll always remember. Oh, that night, oh, what a night it was, it really was such a night. And when we kissed, I had to fall in love. Well, but I gave my heart to her in sweet surrender. How well I remember, I'll always remember. Oh, that night, oh, what a night it was, it really was such a night. And when we kissed, I had to fall in love. But now she's gone, gone, gone. Yes, she's gone, gone, gone. Came the dawn, 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 and my heart was gone. But before that dawn, yeah, before that dawn, ooh, before that dawn, ooh, oh, 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 such a night, ooh, yeah, such a night it was. Woo.
Hard is in Australia, and a beaut bloke. It's wonderful to see him again. Please welcome Mr. Lonnie Lee.
There was a night, oh what a night it was, it really was such a night. Well, the moon was bright, oh how bright it was, it really was such a night. Well, the night was alive with stars up above, and when she kissed me, I had to fall in love. Oh, it was a kiss, oh what a kiss it was, it really was such a kiss. Oh, well, how she could kiss, oh what a kiss it was, it really was such a kiss. Just the thought of her lips sets me on fire. I reminisce, and I'm filled with desire. Well, but I gave my heart to her in sweet surrender. How will I remember, I'll always remember. Starlight, star bright, shine down on me. Bring back my baby back home to me. For a star I see in the heavens tonight. Bring back my baby to hold me tight. I found a new love. She is a true love. I found a new love to last me all of my life. I had an old love. She was a cold love. But I found a new love to last me all of my life. Well, no more blues. No, 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 no more fears. No more lonely
A lot of memories for a lot of people. Mr. Yeah, more please for Lonnie. Come on. He's worth more than that. Lonnie Lee. And as I say, a lot of mums watching our program today would be delighted just to see and hear him again. I have 3. For introducing him, I'll mention to you that there are a couple of big dates for Lonnie. One of the absolute icons in Australian rock and roll. He was there when it all began. There's still doing a great job. This coming Friday at Wentworth Leagues Club, and this coming Saturday at Canterbury Hurlstone Park RSL, and then on Friday, June the 7th at Twin Towns RSL Tweeds Head, and then Saturday, June the 8th at noon, and also at 8 o'clock at the Winter Sun Festival Coolangatta at Toowoomba Sports Club. There's a chance of you seeing him in action. Actually, there are 2 separate dates, I beg your pardon. Saturday at noon on the 8th of June, the Winter Sun... Let's do it again. Oh, we're live, aren't we? Saturday, June the 8th at noon, the Winter Sun Festival Coolangatta, and then 8 o'clock that very same day, except that it's going to be at night. Well, 8 o'clock is at night, at the Toowoomba Sports Club. And Lonnie also appears every Wednesday night. You sure we can't do it again? No, he can't. He also appears at the MT Pritchard, I do beg your pardon, take 2 of the Mount Pritchard Community Club in Sydney at Lonnie Lee's Dance Ranch. And his latest CD, oh my God, this is the latest CD, which features 14 great songs and step calls by leading instructors, because Lonnie appears at the Lonnie Lee's Dance Ranch as an instructional. It's an instructional line dancing... Oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. He does line dancing, and it's on every Wednesday. The beaut thing is he's with us this morning, backed by our own John, and also David Kerrigan. And here's a track from the CD, Lonnie Lee and Linda Lou.
Down the street, all the cats say look around. She looks everybody in the eye. You never know what my baby's gonna put down. Yeah, everybody tells me she's the cutest little girl in town. Oh, I'm gonna marry that girl next Saturday night. Take her out for the rest of my life. From now on, my lonely days are through. Linda Lou, Linda Lou, Linda Lou, tell me. You gotta tell me what to do. I had a real bad dream. You told me that we were through. Oh yeah. And if you ever gonna leave, you're gonna bring my poor heart into you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, because of you. It's all because of you. It's all because of you. It's all because of that chick. Linda Lou, Linda Lou, Linda Lou, tell me. You gotta tell me what to do. Yeah, I had a real bad dream. You told me that we were through. And if you ever gonna leave, you're gonna break my poor heart in two. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. Yeah.
stuff. Thank you, Lonnie. That was just great. Lonnie Lee with David Kerrigan and Jerry Lee Foreman there, and it was called Linda Lou. I can't come over and join you because I've got Samantha waiting for me in a few seconds' time. But, Lonnie, tell us about the dance ranch. What happens there?
Actually, what it is, Bert, is, well, of course, you were too young, but at the beginning of the rock and roll era, you know, there was the dance that more or less started everything happening, not so much the music, people coming to dances.
Sure.
It's really happened again now with line dance. Right. And that's what this is. I still do rock and roll and this sort of stuff, you know, but everybody's there. It's every Wednesday night, and we have like 400 or 500 people there.
And whereabouts, Lonnie?
At Mount Pritchard in Sydney. Mount Pritchard Community Club.
Every Wednesday night?
Every Wednesday night. That's great fun.
And thanks for the cap, too. With your permission, I'd like to give this to Bob Loxton, our director, who did a great job there. He got right into the spirit and put his back in his countdown days. And he loves caps. So hail, hail, rock and roll. Lonnie Lee's, and that's for Bob. Come back and see us again soon, won't you? Please thank Lonnie Lee.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And this, by the way, is the CD, Lonnie's latest CD that you can look for. That's available too. And the dates I mentioned to you before, I won't go through them now because the news is on 11:30, but he's playing basically everywhere. Exciting times for Lonnie. Speaking of exciting... And speaking of great music, it is terrific to have on the show this morning an old friend, Lonnie Lee, is with us. I'm Hurtin' is the song, and here's Lonnie.
I'm all alone, the lonely one. I'm hurting. I'm all confused and all on fire. There's thoughts of loneliness replace desire. And all of my days I'm crying. All of my nights just dying. Sighing. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm sorry, so sorry. I'm all alone, the lonely one, and all because you won't come back. I'm hurting, always hurting. Is this the way you make me pay? I'm hurting. Broken hearts and unused dreams. A world within another world, it seems. And all of my days I'm crying. All of my nights just dying. Sighing. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm hurting.
Thank you, Lonnie. It is just terrific to see you again. Welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Bert. Wonderful to be here.
Just thinking, whilst I was watching you perform then, very long, very successful career. I mean, you're one of the original rockers. You were there with all the other guys. Just thinking, I mean, in comparison to wonderful people like Johnny O'Keefe, whom I just adored, but, I mean, you were the guy, you didn't drink, you didn't smoke, you didn't go out with bad people. I think you're a vegetarian, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
maintained to, mind you, look at yourself. Gee, I mean, you know, I can remember...
Sort of story you're suggesting?
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. I can remember going on when I was young and you were young and on the Hi-Fi show. Remember the Hi-Fi?
But yeah, it was my father. But just great to see you. And this, by the way, is from the new CD by Lonnie. There it is, Don't Look Back, it's called. And just wonderful to see you. Lonnie Lee.
Thank you.
Just unaccompanied, just do the first line of I Found a New Love.
Oh, okay. I found a new love. She is a true love.
Yeah.
I found a new love to last me all of my life.
Don't know what that did for you, but it did a lot for me. A lot of great memories. Lonnie Lee. He's not perfect, by the way. I once saw him jump off a bus before it actually stopped, but I mean, he's a pretty good guy. Okay, now here's Susie.
Your host, John.
Welcome back, and keep the applause coming for Lonnie Lee. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you, John. My
and
pleasure.
I believe you're in town all week, and you've agreed to come in every day and sing a song for us.
Wonderful.
For the new album. That's
Looking forward to it, yeah.
Let me show people the new album. It's called Don't Look Back, which is an interesting title for you because you were probably better known in this country in the 60s.
Yeah.
And then you nicked off on us and went and lived in the States all these years, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the title "Don't Look Back" is more of a philosophy. You know, if you want things to go ahead, look ahead.
Look ahead,
that type of thing.
and don't look back.
And don't
Well,
look
just
back,
keep the slide up for a second. There's a shot of you singing, of course. Don't Look Back is the album, and it's available through Starlight Records, and there's a number upon which people can buy the album. I wanted to ask you about your apparent musical conversion, because I mentioned before, of course, you were huge in the 60s as a rock and roller, and these days you're doing country.
Yeah, I suppose it's a natural progression. You know, I went to America in '71, and after being in Vegas and Los Angeles, I went to Nashville, and I was there for 9 years.
Wow.
Now, you can't live in Nashville for 9 years without being converted to country music.
You can say that again.
And I did, and I wrote with Roy Orbison while I was over there. And I
heard you managed him for a while, too.
Yeah, sort of, not so exactly managed, but pretty close to it, like a secretary, type, an advisor.
So you worked in that environment, so that would have been a lot of fun, I'm
Oh, it was
sure.
wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful time, and I met a lot of wonderful people. It was very inspiring, you know.
I'm not complaining by any means, but what brought you back to Australia? I mean, I'm thrilled to have you back in town.
Yeah, well, actually, we're going back again now, but to the nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
In the early 80s, or mid-80s, there was a very big revival with, and I was doing shows with Fabian and the Diamonds and the Coasters and all those people right through America. So I thought, well, maybe it'll hit Australia as well. So I came back here and got on the wave of the nostalgia trip here too.
Good for you. Well, as I mentioned, you're in Sydney all this week, so we can enjoy, you're going to come in?
Wonderful. Oh,
every
love
day
to.
and do a
Thank
song
you.
from the new album?
Yes,
we'll,
wonderful.
We'll
Thank
give you a
you.
hand with this one because it's great to see you back in town. Lonnie Lee,
Great.
here's the new album, and I don't have to say goodbye, I'll say I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Lonnie Lee, thank you for
Thanks,
coming
John.
in this morning, folks. Okay, we're going to cross to the newsroom now for the very... Welcome back to At Home, right around Australia on the 7 and Prime networks. It's great to be with you this morning. Well, I asked the question before the commercial break. I ask it again. Do you remember that great rock and roller of the 60s, Lonnie Lee? Some of us never forgot him, and here he is to sing for us this morning. Lonnie Lee.
When the city lights go dim, he'll be coming home, but then she won't be there, 'cause she's here alone with me. As I kiss her sweet lips, he'll be walking up the steps of the house that's not a home, 'cause love's just not around. That's when I came into you. That's when I started loving you. It's alright, love is here tonight. In the early morning dew, he'll know his cheating ways are through.
Maybe he'll think of how he broke your heart so many times. But you're worth much more than this, and I hunger for your kiss. The way he did you wrong is known by everyone in town. That's when I came into view. That's when I started loving you. Ooh, it's alright, love is here tonight. That's when I came into view. That's when I started loving you. Ooh, it's alright, love is here tonight. It's alright, love is here tonight. Tonight,
Thanks a lot, Di. Well, he joins us again today. It was great to see Lonnie Lee yesterday. Of course, you all remember Lonnie Lee from the 60s. He was a rock and roller. These days, he's doing country. And from his new album called Don't Look Back, this morning, he's going to do Rain for us. Big hand for Lonnie Lee.
Don't look back, keep your eyes on the track, 'cause love lies straight ahead. Ain't no turning, bridges burning, 'cause of things you might have said. You'll be walking over fields of clover, freer than a bird in flight. Leave the byway, take the highway, love is gonna be alright. Hey, 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 love is gonna be alright. Gonna touch it, gonna feel it, gonna be in sheer delight. Hey, 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 it's bound to happen now and then. Gonna live my life in love again. I'm just like you and I'm traveling too, a feeling that I had before. The blues have got me, really stopped me, have me right against the wall. Gonna give up the old road, get on the new road, let them know I'm back again. Step on the gas, gonna get there fast, live my life in love again. Yeah, hey, hey, love is gonna be alright. Gonna touch it, gonna feel it, gonna be in sheer delight. Hey, 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 it's bound to happen now and then. Gonna live my life in love again. Hey, 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 love is gonna be alright. Gonna touch it, gonna feel it, gonna be in sheer delight. Hey, 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 it's bound to happen now and then. Gonna live my life in love again. All right.
You're an old rock and roller. You probably remember Lonnie Lee.
Absolutely.
Well, he went away as a pop singer and came back as a country singer after living a few years in the States. He's been with us all week and he's with us this morning. Stick around and have a listen to this. Lonnie Lee with I'm Hurtin'.
I'm hurting, always hurting, feeling bad, feeling sad, and all because you won't come back. I'm sorry, so sorry. I'm all alone, the lonely one. I'm hurting. I'm all confused and all on fire. These thoughts of loneliness replace desire. And all of my days I'm crying. All of my nights just die. And all because you won't come back. I'm hurting, always hurting. Is this the way you make me pay? I'm hurting. I'm all confused and all on fire. These thoughts of loneliness replace desire. All of my days I'm crying. All of my nights just dying. Sighing. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. I'm hurting.
Indeed, gentlemen. Time now for some music, so you can sit back and relax after that important message and just sort of enjoy the music of Lonnie Lee, who we've been featuring all this week. As you know, he's got a new album out called Don't Look Back. He's going to perform for us this morning. Low down feeling, Lonnie Lee, who's back bigger, bolder and more country than ever. Lonnie Lee, everyone.
It's in the late hours of the evening when I think of you the most. When this lonely man is sorry for the love that he has lost. And in the early morning, as the sun begins to melt the dew, I think of your sweet kisses and the love I had for you. It's in the late hours of the evening when time is standing still and thoughts of good time loving are all that I can feel. And when the sky is black and only moonshine filters through to me, I think of your sweet kisses and the love you had for me. Well, it's this low down feeling that I feel when things ain't right. It's this low down feeling that creeps round in the night. And every night I pay the price of slipping round with someone new. My mind won't free this broken heart from memories of you. It's this low down feeling. It's this low
Lee, who's been featured all this week and done a great job too, is back with us this morning. Got a great song for you. Good rockin' tonight. Big welcome for Lonnie Lee.
She'll know what a mighty man I am. I heard the news, there's good rockin' tonight. I'm gonna have me here tomorrow behind the barn. Don't you be afraid, I'm gonna do you no harm. I want you to bring along my rockin' shoes, 'cause tonight we're gonna rock away on my blues. I heard the news, there's good rockin' tonight.
Lonnie Lee, and he's been performing for us all week, and I'm going to tell you a little bit later in the show how you can win one of Lonnie's CDs for 5 people. I'll tell you how you can win a Lonnie Lee CD a little bit later in the show. But
That's right, the aircon. The drying riser. This is Lonnie. Oh, hello. Hello. I'm Joe Lady. Yes. Now, if you need anything.
Lovely, thank you.
Pressed, and are you fine? You have everything
yes.
you need and pressed?
Thank you very much, yes. Everything's
in order?
Pressed. I've been pressed.
Well, we're sort of casual anyway, because he's only wearing just a white T-shirt and a nice top rather than have crinkly shirts and things.
Yeah, that's Suzanne.
Hello, Suzanne.
Hello.
Well, I'll go back. No,
yes,
in the studio.
Nothing from us. Nice to meet you.
And you.
Oh, we are. We try to get it all done, otherwise it causes everybody else problems. Oh, Brett, I'll see you too. Hang on. Hello.
There it is and out. Okay, we've got to decide what we're going to.
Different people on camera. So is Johnny doing charting? No, she's supposed to last year, but before that it was just a regular day.
George, just sit how you're going to sit. That's the reason you're going to go back to what
Come in. You want to come in too?
George, I can shoot. I can actually get it in.
Zoom in and lose the cameras. There's a feeling.
Intimacy.
Okay.
Thanks.
You want to draw it on it. Well, there's a stoplight on the same side.
Yeah, I'm done. Okay. Yep. Yes, that's well. Okay, replay on this.
The old man cried. The roots of Australian rock and roll television, and clearly one of the ABC's early attacks on the social fabric of this country. They might even get a reaction from somewhere. Some amazing faces there, even some amazing and not so amazing voices from the original bandstand family, but also included the likes of Cole Joy, Brian Davies, Sandy Scott and Little Patty. Well, another member of that original bandstand family is our guest on the couch, but before you meet the 2003 version, here he is the way a lot of Australians would remember it.
See, the best thing on television.
Lonnie Lee, welcome.
Oh, you really think so? I move a little more. I'm a little more animated.
That was considered pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, yes, quite amazing. Like in my head, I was thinking I was moving. And of course, just a little hand going.
You've got to completely control yourself.
I know, exactly.
We talked about in that piece which we watched together, and it was very nostalgic.
Oh, fun stuff. Great.
Those two programs, Bandstand and 6 O'Clock Rock, were so different, weren't they?
Yes.
Have we got the categorisation right? That
No, you did.
Bandstand was very family, and JFK and 6 O'Clock Rock was the wild side.
Yeah, so 6 O'Clock Rock was more like on the edge. You know, you went there, and just like Pee Wee had said before, you really didn't know what was going to happen. You know, and we'd rehearse it in the afternoon. Well, about 10 o'clock in the morning, I think we'd have a rehearsal in the ABC, the old church, and then off to the pub. That's right, then off to the pub, and then we'd back down to ABC. I guess around about maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we run through it once. 6 o'clock came, boom, ready or not, on the way, there you are. And that's why Jock forgot half the words half the time. You know, and who's this? What song am I singing? Only because there was so much happening. Whereas Bandstand, on the other hand, it would, in many cases, you'd record the music on the Wednesday. The Saturday you'd go do the show, and you'd be miming. So you weren't singing live. So even if you didn't know the words, as long as you faked it. Okay.
I'm old enough to remember this stuff.
Oh, sorry, George. Oh, shattered your dreams. Oh, dear. But both of the shows was good. I mean, I enjoyed doing both shows. I think everyone that...
Did you have to change your demeanour or your dress or your style?
No.
If you went from one to the other? Or was that a bit of mythology, I think?
Yes.
All were pretty great.
Well, it was. I mean, looking at it from here, it was. But the edge was there then, in those days. Even I knew it. But I mean, look at me. Look how staid I was then. That's 6 O'Clock Rock. That's the wild one. That's right. Now, when I went to Bandstand, I didn't change at all. It was just me. I really didn't have to. If I was threw myself all over the place, which I'd get away with on 6 O'Clock Rock, I would, have to clean myself up in Bandstand. But that's what
JFK was the wild aspect.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was pretty much it. I mean, the songs were wild. Maybe that would be a difference also. we were allowed to sing songs that had a little bit more oomph in them, a little bit songs that were a bit more edgy, you know. But as far as well,
I mean, can you imagine? Well, compare that, let's say, for argument's sake, from a historical perspective, that stuff to Eminem. I mean,
yeah, well, I suppose, yeah.
What was edgy? What was it?
Well,
you say the word love before the word love was.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even so much the words; it was the song itself. You know, if maybe there'd be some raspy stuff, or if you did like Tutti Frutti, for example, or Blue Suede Shoes, or any of those.
I often wonder whether Tutti Frutti had
no, over there it didn't, because we were the only ones that had the
something that I missed.
No, sorry, no, you didn't miss anything at all. In fact, the Americans had come out sometimes, you know, some of the, doing the stadium, the American stars that we performed with, and different guys would say to them, well, you know what that means and all that, and they would say, no, what it is, and they were quite shocked, because they didn't know the whole meaning.
Our friend from the Delcones, Pee-wee, of course, Pee-wee did say that nobody realised, you guys didn't realise the power of television. Because that's what made it.
Yes.
The fact that television was the difference. Otherwise, you would have been doing 20 or 30 people.
That's
like
true.
you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, I started off in '57. I had my little band, and I kept going. Now, it wasn't until 1959 that I did TV.
But you started the same as TV, almost the same time as
exactly the same as TV. In fact, my first TV show was Sydney Tonight, which was, I think, one of the first TV shows in Australia, just going on performing. But nothing really happened. Just like I said, you can continue going on and doing 30 people, 50 people, 100 people. But as soon as one hit TVs, from my first TV show, things really changed. Within a month, I was recording. Within about 6 weeks, I was performing at the stadium with to 10,000 people, and it just went on and on and on.
It's possible to argue that people like yourself would have disappeared into a blip.
Oh, true.
Without those sort of programs.
Oh, I would say absolutely for sure. Now, in my case, I was performing way before TV, like Johnny O'Keefe was as well, and a couple of the others. But many of them, they actually started singing because of 6 o'clock rock. And so they didn't have a long lead up. But as soon as they did go on TV, things changed and they did become stars.
Right. We're doing you this favour actually by talking about you in the past, because you're still performing, you haven't stopped performing.
No, I went to America. I guess from an Australian point of view, a lot of people would think that, where's he gone? But in '66 I went to England and Europe, so I performed there for a while. And then I went from there to back to Australia, went to America in '71, and I stayed there pretty much all the time. I came back a couple of times, but pretty much all the time until about 1984.
Right.
So
the band, they still exist.
Yeah, they still exist. There's different guys, but the Lee Men itself was unfortunately 2 of the actual Lee Men have passed on now. But I still have Lee Men going now. We still do the same songs. We still perform to the bigger arenas and.
No plans to pull out a kind of.
Oh no. No, well, see, I got into it because I loved it. I didn't get into it to be successful, because successful to me was being on a stage singing. That was success.
You didn't want to be a star. You wanted to make a living doing it.
No, I didn't think it was possible to be a star. To me, somehow I didn't think of anything being a star. It was just I was singing and then performing, yeah. And then more jobs came, and then now I was on TV, and now I had a record. It was just something else. Extensions being a singer, and even now it's much the same. That's why I wouldn't give up. Because I'm doing what I love to do.
Terrific. And you look fit, that's the key.
Thank you, George.
Well, by the 60s and early 70s, rock music was literally all over our television sets, as we've just been saying. Here on the ABC, we now had something called Hit Seat.
Well, he spent many years in Nashville, Tennessee, writing with Roy Orbison at the height of his fame. Lonnie Lee had 8 national #1 hits. This true Aussie music legend is still making him dance in the aisles, and he'll be performing in Perth at the end of this month. Check out his website for details. But he's with us this morning. This is his latest single, Lonnie Lee with Can't You See It in My Eyes.
You ask me, did my lover hurt me? Can't you tell by the tears in my eyes? Can't you hear it in the way that my voice shakes? Can't you I still remember how she held me in her arms when the night was so right and stars were shining bright. Can't you see it in my eyes? Her kiss set a flame in my heart. Her love brought a feeling so sublime. And while I stood in this heavenly glow, she turned away and let me go. And still you ask me, do I love her? After all that's said and done, she's still the one. Can't you hear it in the way that my voice shakes? Can't you see it in my eyes? Her kiss set a flame in my heart. Her love brought a feeling so sublime. And while I stood in this heavenly glow, she turned away and let me go. And still you ask me, do I love her? After all that's said and done, she's still the one. Can you hear it in the way that my voice shakes? Can't you see it in my eyes? Can't you hear it in my voice? Can't you see it in my
Fantastic. What a wonderful Aussie. Go, Lonnie. Fantastic rock and roll from that time right up until now. It's good to see that. OK, on mornings we move on. Start a rock and roll show with some of the good old-fashioned stuff. And to kick it off, we want to welcome a terrific guy. He had more hits in the 50s and 60s than anyone. Ladies and gentlemen, live on mornings, Lonnie Lee and the Lehmans.
Everybody keeps on saying, what's the matter with me? Everybody keeps on saying, what's the matter with me? Ain't it so, ain't it so, I'm in love with you. Everybody keeps on saying, you don't treat me
She is a true love. I found a new love to last me all of my life. I had an old love. She was a cold love, but I found a new love to last me all of my life. No more blues, no more fear, no more loneliness, no more tears. I found a new love. She is a true love, a true love. I found a new love to last me all of my life. I found a new love. She is a true love. I found a new love to last me all of my last, me all of my last, me all of my last. Well, do I need your tender kiss? Yes, indeed I do. Do I realize what I miss? Yes, indeed I do. Well, now do I cry? Yeah, yeah, till I cry. Yeah, yeah, over you. Yes, indeed I do. Would I trade? Yeah, yeah, all I've made. Yeah, yeah, just to have one more night with you. Oh, yes, indeed I do. Yes, indeed I do. Come on. Yes, indeed I do. Woo. Yes, indeed I do.
Oh, yes, Lonnie Lee and the Lehmans.
Hello.
It's fantastic to see you
Glad to
again.
meet you.
And great rock and roll dancers. Were they good or what? Well, Lonnie, you and I are coming back for a bit of a chat with the boys from rock and roll, later the girls from rock and roll, but also some fabulous, hippest cars of the era. Stay with us on Mornings. Oh, thank you. Welcome back to Mornings, live from Rudy Hill, RSL. Come on down and join us. I'll tell you what Rudy Hill means very shortly. But you know, it really is considered the original rock and roll era, the golden age between, I think it's 1958 and 64. Shows like Bandstand, 6 o'clock rock, really ruled the television airways, and my next guests were the biggest names of the time. First up, we're going to meet some of the boys, then some of the girls, but you've already met him. Ladies and gentlemen, Lonnie Lee.
Hello.
Great to see you, Lonnie.
Thank you. Great to be here, especially, as you said, in really the heart of rock and roll, Sydney rock and roll.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk about the television era, as I mentioned. 6 o'clock rock, Bandstand, that was the staple diet. Everybody watched it.
Wonderful.
What was the difference between the two shows?
Okay, well, 6 o'clock rock was a live show. It was like what we're doing today. We've got a live audience and we're doing it straight to air, warts and all. Whatever happens, doesn't matter. Everyone's going to see it. So 6 o'clock rock was just like that. Whereas Bandstand was, there was a rehearsal. You'd had a rehearsal on maybe the Wednesday night, you'd record it, and then on Saturday, you'd mime it. So you'd already sung it before and you'd be miming it, you know, so the words would be, if you didn't know the words, if you were reading the words when you recorded it, and Saturday you forgot the words, that's why you'd see all the fumbling, you know. But,
a little bit of fluffing. Now,
yeah.
you know, clearly black and white in those days, but I mean, you know, it was a terrific time.
Oh,
this is
wonderful.
where we created some fantastic
Oh,
music.
yes, absolutely. The era was, you know, everything's exciting today, I guess, because we have all the push buttons and the computers and all the gadgets and all that. But back then, everything was raw and it was a first time. And of course, when we stop to think about it, the rock and roll that we take for granted so much now, it was brand new. Prior to that, as you know, there was really the 50s, you know, everything was easy and soft, and all of a sudden, bang, comes rock and roll. So we were all pumped up.
And in terms of Australian rock and roll, Johnny O'Keefe,
Yes.
and your era,
Yeah.
you worked with Johnny O'Keefe. In fact, with his show, because he hosted 6 o'clock
6 o'clock
rock,
rock.
he occasionally, like all of us in television, had a few lapses of memory. Have a look at this.
We have a gentleman on the program that appeared with us once before to sing a song called, what's the name of the song? Only Love Me. Only Love Me. Let's welcome a cat who needs no introduction to the thing. We'll tell you a little more about him later.
I love that.
You know that guy, isn't
I love that.
incredible? You know, a guy called me, because that was on, I think, One Way to the Top. They played that little clip again, and a guy called me and sent me a CD that was the guy eventually came on and sang it, and sent me a CD, and he said, I'm still around, even though Johnny O'Keefe forgot me, I'm still around.
Oh, that was hysterical.
I know.
Now, we want to introduce some more of the main men of that rock and roll era.
Everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Come on, everybody, it's time to rock. Will it stop? Let's rock. Come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Well, everybody knows just what to do. Turn your attention to. Will it stop? Let's rock. Come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Well, people got around from here and far to see their favorite TV star. Everybody singing and making a shout it out. You, come on, everybody, it's 6 o'clock. Come on, everybody, it's time to rock. Will you stop? Let's rock. Come on, everybody, come on. Well.
For coming, but we're finishing with Lonnie Lee and the band. Y'all have a good time. Great weekend. See you Monday. Woo! Yay! Yeah!
Come along, baby, a whole lot of shaking going on. Come along, baby, a whole lot of shaking going on. We thinking, a whole lot of shaking going on. Come along, baby, we got chicken in the barn. Come along, baby, really got the bull by the horn. What are you thinking? A whole lot of shaking going on. Baby, shake, shake, baby, shake. Come on over, a whole lot of shaking going on. Come along, baby, a whole lot of shaking going on.
Well, the 1950s was a golden period in music. It was known as the Rockabilly era, and it was brought to life by the smooth vocals of Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash's deep ballads.
Me on your side, you give me cause for love that I can't hide. For you, I know I'd even try to turn the tide, because you're mine. I walk the line.
And Australia's answer to the rockabilly movement came in the form of Lonnie Lee. The smooth-sounding artist produced a string of hits, including Ain't It So and I Found a New Love. And 60 years later, Lonnie Lee is still rocking his way around Australia. We're very lucky he joins us live at the desk today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
60 years, it's a pretty long time to be doing it. What keeps you going?
I guess my love of it.
the passion of singing. I still love singing, and that's what started me in the first place to do it. So I like that, and I still love the songs. That era is sort of embedded in me, so I still love all those easy listening songs and whatever. Yeah, just good. I'll never stop.
That's good. You can't stop. Everyone's got to keep going. It's awesome, Lonnie, because you got to, you play great music, mate. So there's lots of fans for you. You broke into the music scene in the 50s. Elvis and Johnny Cash, as we saw, were really hitting their straps in the top charts. What was the rockabilly era like?
Well, it was very new. It was very different. For us, we were just doing things that we loved. I guess just prior to the rockabilly era, there was a very, very smooth 50s era. So everything was the crooners. And then when rockabilly came in, which was just country sort of hepped up a little bit, it got to us because we were all young. We were just all teenagers ourselves. So that was all very, very exciting. And not only us as singers, it was new, but it was new to the audiences. And all the girls would go crazy and the guys. And it was just like the Beatles or the Elvis thing. It happened out here, the same thing. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't walk down George Street or Martin Place without being chased and girls writing with lipstick all over our cars and everything. We love you and all that stuff.
Good times.
It was,
very good times by the sound of it. You wrote for also some pretty big stars as well, including Roy Orbison. How did that come about?
Well, I was in Nashville. I went to Nashville in 1971, and I eventually lived there for about 9 years. And during that time, I was there as a songwriter. So I went to one of the publishing houses, Acuff Rose, which is one of the biggest publishing houses there. And the guy listened to my songs, and he said, "Oh, wow," he said, "I can hear millions of dollars in your songs and gold." So,
sounds good.
This is what a songwriter wants to hear, right? Anyway, I said, "Oh, that's fantastic." But he said, "I think the quickest way for it is maybe if we put you with somebody, a big international act, because you write international music." So I said, "Okay." He said, "Have you written with people before?" And I said, "No, never, just me." So he said, "Would you think about it?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I'll call you tomorrow and let me know." So anyway, he called me tomorrow and he said, "Would you like to write with Roy Orbison?" And I said, "Oh, you're joking." And he said, no, I'm serious. So that afternoon we got together and we spent about 10 hours getting to know each other personally, and found our chemistry was really, really fine. We had a lot in common, and so we spent the next maybe 2.5 years writing and doing lots of stuff together. I was his personal assistant there for some time as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, while you were also in America, you lived next door to Johnny Cash. What was Johnny like?
Yeah. Oh, he's a lovely guy. Very, very nice guy. And both of them, Johnny Cash and Roy Orbison. They're very gentle people, and very honest and true, and with a lot of integrity, and John, they were both sort of a little bit cheeky at times. John especially, because sometimes if I was out the front of Roy's place and it was right on the corner and it was all dirt, and he'd come in his caddy, and as soon as he'd see me up there near the gate there, he'd step on the gas, come around the corner, and all the dust had come up and stones, and so I'd be smothered in dust, and he'd call back, "Gotcha,"
He really was a hellraiser, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. But a lovely guy, yeah.
Is there anyone you wish you could have worked with that you didn't? I mean, you've obviously come in contact with some pretty amazing, iconic people over the years.
I don't know. I suppose the only person that I don't know about work with, because he would have blown me into the sandpit, and that would be Elvis, I suppose. But no one really got to work with him except in the very, very early stages when he was a support act. But I never got to meet him. I was very close. I was invited to a party and I couldn't get out of the jobs that I was at. I was in Illinois at the time, and I couldn't get down to Memphis, so I missed out.
I know we've talked a lot about America, Lonnie, but how does it make you feel when guys like Billy Thorpe and Bobby Lloyd, say that you inspired them in their music, Australian artists?
Yeah, well, it's really nice to hear that, because you feel that it wasn't all for nothing. Back in those days, of course, we didn't know that. We were just doing what we did. So it was quite a shock to me many years later when all these guys said, "Thank you," and you were the first record we ever bought, and the first person we saw on a show, and whatever. It's nice to hear, but I guess in a way it's a responsibility. But when it's someone like Thorpe or any of these guys, Normie Rowe or any of these guys, that they went to the top, and so if I inspired them just one tiny little bit, it obviously worked.
And you're still making music today, Lonnie. Well done. You've got a new record out, so all the best with it. And really nice to talk to you today, mate.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
For more information on where you can catch Lonnie Lee performing, just please head over to the Daily Edition website.
Well, today is our favourite day of the week. Not only is it the start of the weekend, it's also Flashback Friday.
And during his 5-decade career, Lonnie Lee worked with some of the biggest names in rock music and pioneered the Rockabilly movement in Australia.
Well, it's the one for the money, two for the show, three to get ready. Now go, go, go.
In the 1950s, rock and roll was born.
Well, you can do anything but take the help of my blue suede shoe.
And what followed was a golden period in music. The Rockabilly era was brought to life by the smooth vocals of Elvis Presley.
You still can find for broken-hearted lovers.
And Johnny Cash's deep, emotional ballads.
Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Australia's answer to the Rockabilly movement came in the form of Lonnie Lee.
Ain't it so, ain't it so? Well, I'm in love with you.
The performer shot to fame in the 60s after singing Elvis's Heartbreak Hotel on radio. Lonnie went on to produce 8 hit singles, including Ain't It So and I Found a New Love. He's also collaborated with Roy Orbison and penned songs for Cher.
I found a new love.
With an impressive career spanning more than 5 decades, Lonnie is still rocking his way around Australia. And Lonnie Lee joins us now. Welcome to the show, Lonnie.
Thank you, Matt.
How was it for you seeing that old vision?
Oh, it's so funny. It really is, you know. And yet, strangely enough, I remember the times. You know, I can actually remember being there doing all that stuff.
What was it like during that era?
Oh, it was exciting. The main thing was it was exciting because it was all new, and it wasn't just new for us. It was new for the audiences. You know, we'd go out, and if we were on tour, and we'd go into the town, the girls and that would run out of the shops, leave their offices, and chase us down the street and write their names all over our cars with lipstick. The whole thing was just so exciting.
Oh, wow.
That happens to me some days.
Oh, does it, Matt?
I'm not going to tell you where my car is.
You talk about touring, and you did so with stars like Jerry Lee Lewis.
Mm.
But there was a story with the Jerry Lee Lewis about
Oh,
a bit of a falling out. What happened?
Well, actually, in those days, the big stars didn't have suites and all that like they have now. Everything was all together. So on this particular tour, I and Jerry Lee Lewis shared a room on the different places. And we shared the same seat when we were travelling in the bus or whatever. So in this particular time, we were in a bus, and he was next to me here, and he said, we're going through the country. And he said, Lonnie, he said, what do you think of the country? I said, oh, I just absolutely love it. I'm from the country. He said, yeah. He said, I'm from Memphis as well. He said, I just bought 13 acres. I said, oh, that's tremendous, really wonderful. And he said, a couple of Cadillacs I just got as well. And I thought, oh, this is really tremendous. And he said, what about you? Have you been out to the country? I said, yeah, I'm from the country also. My parents have a sheep station. And he said, oh, really? How big is it? And I said, 7,000 acres. And he died. He got up out of the chair, nearly knocked his head off on the thing there and said, you F, and I mean, really went off his face. Because 13 acres to him, I guess it was as if I was putting him down, saying 7,000 acres. Anyway, we made up later on, and he paid me back because the deal was that we shared a room, and whoever woke up first would wake the other one up so we could catch the plane. I didn't wake up. He woke up, left me there. He caught the plane. I missed the plane, and so I didn't miss the next show, but I got there. But when I got in, he said, I got you.
He did get you.
And he did get me, yeah.
You've written some songs with some big stars, including Roy Orbison. How did that come about?
Well, I went to Nashville to try and see if my songs were going to be successful, because it's, you know, very, very difficult business, especially then. And this guy heard my songs, and he said, look, I think I'll send you to a guy who we feel is going to take Nashville from country, traditional country, into pop music, and because the sales of traditional country are going down. So his name was Don Gant. So he said he's the general manager of Acuff Music. So anyway, he sent me to Don. Don listened to a few of my songs, about 5 or 6, and he said, wow, he said, I could hear gold in your songs. And of course, to a songwriter, you think, what, are you kidding? This is my first meeting, you know. And he said, have you ever written with anybody? And I said, no, I haven't. He said, would you like to? I said, I guess so. It depends if the chemistry and whatever. He said, okay, I've got something in mind, because your songs are really international, and I know an international writer as well. I'll call you tomorrow. Anyway, he called me tomorrow, and he said, how would you like to write with Roy Orbison? Of course, I thought, oh, you're joking. He said, no, I'm serious. We've checked everything out. It's right. So he's arranged a meeting for Roy and I. So we had this meeting that ended up us being locked in the boardroom for 11 hours. But we got together for quite a number of
So many stories, and you've also lived next door to Johnny Cash. I mean, the stories just keep coming. You're touring now, though.
Yes, we're going all over the place. We're going right through Queensland. We go to the Tallangatta, to say it right, 50s Festival next weekend, and we're all over the place. It's just wonderful. I'm just so blessed to do what I'm doing, you know.
And still to be doing it.
Yeah, with my band. I got my own band, who are also my great friends, and so it's really, really wonderful. I am just so blessed, and I do feel sorry for some of these new guys coming along. You know, X Factors and all those different shows. There's not the future for them that I've been lucky enough to have, and people like my peers, you know, have had.
Oh, there may be. There's a few.
60 years.
One Direction, yeah.
We'll have to wait.
We'll see how One Direction is going in 60
I'll be 150.
Thank you, Lonnie. So nice to take that trip down memory lane with you. You can catch Lonnie Lee on tour. For all the details, head to our website.